Hey everyone, this is FanAddicts podcast coming at you again. It's been a little while, mostly because the people that I try to get on are like, I need to study up on my team a little bit more, which is like not really the purpose of the podcast, but it's fine. I'm gonna whatever, like study up on your team. So I actually brought a Panthers fan on, so we're actually kind of doing a crossover between KittyLit and FanAddicts. This is Ricky Rains. He's a Charlotte native, lifelong Panthers fan, and he actually contributes to Cat Crave, which if you're a Panthers fan, everyone knows Cat Crave. Ricky, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, hey, I've been writing or contributing for over at Cat Crave for about 8 months now. Needed an outlet to be able to voice the frustration of a lifelong Carolina Panthers fan. It's a lot of baggage. My sister is a psychiatrist, so she's taught me all about like the dealing of garbage and shit in our lives. And I found that writing was an appropriate outlet because at first being vulgar and speaking about everything kind of turns people off. So if you can sneak in and then really let them know the truth, that's the way I found that I operate the best. So when you asked me to be on here and you said you just wanted to have a conversation about a couple of guys sitting at a bar talking football, that played really well for me. That's pretty much what I do on a daily basis anyways.
Dude, we did not talk about this at all. That's
No.
exactly why I'm doing this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to a therapist and I decided that I needed an outlet
Yeah.
and made this podcast. That is wild that we did not talk about this before this.
They
at all.
are relatively intelligent people, therapists. Like
Well,
they've got a nice unbiased opinion, as I like to say. You know, I'm a professional, so I can say those kinds of things. But it's just my educated opinion, you know?
Yeah, my dad's a psychologist, so
Oh, man.
it's so wild that we
Yeah.
had that in the family. We had to talk to somebody. We need an outlet.
A lot of
That
pressure,
is-
you know?
that is absolutely wild. But it's great to have you on.
Thanks, man. Appreciate having me.
Do you remember how we started talking?
Yeah, I believe that it was a Twitter interaction, based loosely around Derek Carr, and no, that was not it.
Nope. That
Oh,
was
that
the
came
first
after?
time. Yeah, that came after.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a little bit on that now, but before that,
DJ Shark
yes,
and
Yes.
DJ Moore.
yes.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, if I remember right, it was something about losing a DJ, but potentially having a better one on the roster. Something along those lines. Maybe not worded exactly, but there was an
Yeah.
underlying sentiment, maybe?
Here's the thing. I have like 19 followers, and I just
Yeah.
say stuff on Twitter every now and then. And, it's my outlet before podcasts. So I said, hey, yeah, DJ Shark is like not as bad as you think. Yeah, he runs, he's really fast, he's really big, he's really strong. Basically had one real injury. So maybe we lost a DJ, we gained a DJ,
Yeah.
and I got hammered.
Yeah.
Bears fans, Panthers fan, everyone hammered me on that. And I was like, guys, I'm not saying that he's better than DJ Moore. I'm just saying that he's a good player. We're okay.
It was like a digital Game of Thrones episode for you, basically. It's like the Red Wedding.
And since then I'm like trying to get like more and more on Twitter, and
Yeah.
I still don't get as many responses as I got to that one statement. So
That was your viral moment.
yeah, I mean when people like talk about clickbait, like that's
That's it.
That's like, yeah, if I didn't actually mean it, which
Yeah.
I did, if I just said it to get clicks, which I kind of think that Pro Football Focus does that. I get so
Yeah.
mad with them. I get so mad.
There's not a ton of outlets that don't do clickbait on a pretty regular basis.
Is it on
And
purpose?
it makes sense. Yeah. I mean, it's traffic, and traffic is what pays the bills. Literally, as a contributor or as a freelance writer, you're paid off of your work and off of your views and impressions and all those kinds of things. So if somebody has an outrageous idea that they don't even support, it's probably the best thing to put out there, because then you don't actually have to believe what you're saying. You can just get out there and get the clicks. I don't really work that way. Unfortunately, man, I have this like burning desire to suffer with my Panthers team and be accurate and factual about the things that I am sad about. You know what I mean? That's just a rule of thumb for me.
Man, I do it every single year. And you know why I do it every single year? Because I feel like Scott Fitterer is very good at his job, and
Yeah.
Matt Rule was just not competent.
Yeah, you know, it was tough because I think that we were in a situation where, as fans, we were very excited for a new turnover, regardless of who it was going to be. There was a lot of fans that thought Matt Rule was the end all be all and that we had won the sweepstakes of coaching hires in that year that he was hired. Scott Fitterer comes over and everyone loves what he did in Seattle with the makeup of that roster and contracts that were given and contracts that weren't given. Because as a Panthers fan, we'll all remember the Marty Herney era where there was loyalty contracts given. You know what I mean? Like it was, what have you done for me in the past as opposed to what can you do for me going forward? He didn't want to hurt ties. So we all were really excited about the business end of having Scott Fitterer here. And we thought that Matt Rule, I mean, can't be much worse than the riverboat that didn't gamble, right? Like it can't be that much worse. It proved to be way worse. Everyone should have known when he was literally a cut off version of the hoodie. You know what I mean? Like that should have been the first red flag of this isn't going to work out. If you have to impersonate somebody's wardrobe, you're already doing an impression. We don't really need a caricature as the guy to bring us out of the flames. Unfortunately, that's what we got. But now here we are. Scott Fitterer has a chance to prove everyone right that was really high on him originally. He also is going to shoulder a hefty amount of the blame if this stuff doesn't work out. And
Yeah.
rightfully so. I mean, that's the way that it should be. There's a little bit more transparency, I think, with this regime. There's clear cut roles, responsibilities, and all of that. It's a collaborative effort, which I love. That didn't seem to be the case when Rule was here. There was a dictatorship type of thing going on. You know what I mean, for a lack of a better term.
Yeah, no.
I mean, he had acronyms to not let people in on conversations. It's a wild thing. Reich and Thomas Brown, the conversation that has been about them is how are they going to marry their two different philosophies and all this stuff. And they've already had reports of them butting heads, but in a good way. That's how football's supposed to work. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need a room full of yes men. You don't need to intimidate people into doing what you want. It doesn't usually work out for the long term. Even Bill Belichick is an example of that. You look at what he's doing right now in New England, having all that control. He's making some moves that people are like, is Bill a little batshit crazy? Is he off a little bit?
He's always done that
Probably,
too. Like,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah, we can have a different conversation about the Patriots. I'm actually really intrigued about the Patriots. I'm really intrigued about the AFC East in general this year. So Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots fans, come talk to me. I think that's a really, really interesting division this year. Yeah, dude, I totally agree. Even Gettleman, like you had a team that went to. It's like I don't know if you're a basketball fan, but the 2020 Lakers, they win a title and they like gut their team and like what
That
are
was
you
the
doing?
bubble title, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
what are you doing? Like so like they like let Josh Norman walk and he's like one of the best players on the defense and just pay the guy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Fitter, I think there's not as much pressure on him because there's an actual system. You've actually seen it play out. You've seen it win in the NFL. And I feel like Panthers fans, because we're so jaded in general, and we'll get into this when we're talking about Panthers in general, but we're so jaded that we even say we need DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
We need Floyd. We need a cornerback. And we talk about this on Twitter a lot.
Right.
When you see Evero do it with a fourth round rookie, you see Fitter go 11, not Fitter, Wright go 11-6 with the leading receiver being a 706-yard T.Y. Hilton. Like you've seen it. You've seen Evero take a 26th ranked defense to a 7th ranked defense. So we kind of need to trust the coaching, but that's really hard for us to do.
I mean, that's what's being preached too, though, right? Is that if we spent the time, money, effort, and everything to build this Avengers cast of coaching, why would we not at least give them the little bit of leeway before we start jumping down their throat and questioning what they're doing? And that happened with the draft, right? DJ Johnson was a guy that trade up. Everyone thought we were going up for other players. There were some players that fans were very high on that I think there's a disconnect, first of all, between fans and the realization that the front office doesn't operate under what we like and what
Right.
we have personal rankings. They
Right.
don't care what Mel Kiper has as his personal rankings. Why would they care what Ricky and Alex have as theirs? There's a vision on what they want to do. There are players that they like. There are styles that they want on their team. Trust it. If it doesn't work out, let's all torch them together. Like, I have no problem with that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
let the Flames run after we have proof of a critical error. I don't think that it's fair to start judging them before we even see people put pads on. And we have that coming up, and that's another thing to get excited about, is that all of this preparation, all of the theories and ideas that they're running with and that they're building this team with are about to start going into action, and we're going to see some tangible results.
Yeah, I mean, the perfect example is the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Like, how many people, like, what was their grade last year? It wasn't very good, and they got studs.
A lot of people really didn't like the corner that they drafted, the tall dude. Oh man, what is
Yeah,
this?
dude, why'd you do this? I knew.
I'm drawing a blank on him.
Yeah, oh god, yeah, he was amazing. Fourth or fifth round guy.
Great physical numbers. He was an RAS guy, which that's a Scott Fitterer specialty. He drafts the relative athletic score, the high performers on that.
Yes.
He loves those. And honestly, the guy that does that, can't remember his name.
Not the Hornets. The Hornets don't do that.
No, they don't. No, they like to go off the beaten path, and they like to draft somebody that's less athletic that they're hoping can grow athleticism. Once
That was
they
good
reach
in
the
college.
professionals.
Yeah.
And hey, maybe that works out. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I don't even want to open that.
I've been following the Hornets for 20 years. It's not going to work out.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to
but
be involved in.
Dude, when you're a small market, look at Giannis. Take the athlete. Take the upside.
You bet on physical traits, right? If there's somebody that has something that 99% of the league does not have, and the league is made up of the highest level athletes in the world. If there is somebody that stands out above that, and it doesn't have major red flags, right? I don't want somebody that is involved in capital murder. I don't want someone that's involved in domestic violence. Not a lot, right? Like, I don't really want that. But if you can avoid just those cardinal sins, athleticism will make up for a whole lot. And good coaching can bring all that home. The problem that we did draft a couple of those RAS guys. Tommy Tremble, outstanding player.
Oh, I'm so
Outstanding
excited.
player. Yeah, you know what? Let's hold off on that. Let's get into that when we start.
Okay, yeah.
Now all of a sudden I'm giving away my points. Pineapple, yeah. Fuck.
So Ricky introduced a new rule to FanAddicts, and it is if we go off the rails and just enjoy talking to each other about something that's not on brand, we say pineapple, and we just steer back to where we are. So let's go back to what we do on this podcast 2 episodes in. So we have rules. We did our guest intro, so that's a check. The next thing is, since we're talking Panthers, win total. What do you think? Do you want me to go down?
Really should have that schedule.
Yeah. No, I can go through the schedule with you.
Yeah, go through the schedule.
All right, cool. So we get Falcons
Win.
away.
Win.
It's a win.
Game 1 on the road. Win.
Yeah, it's a win. And I think that's the best part of our schedule is that we go from Falcons on the road to Saints at home.
Yep.
So you got win, Falcons, Saints at home.
Win.
Yep. Seahawks on the road.
Loss.
Okay.
And that's a little bit closer than I actually made that seem with my answer.
Yeah.
I like the Seahawks team. I love what they have built there. I'm still not completely sold on Geno Smith, first of all. He had a great year. And I'm not trying to take anything away from him.
We beat him on the road last year.
And he worked his ass off to get to the place that he is right now with the consistency and everything like that. He's always had talent. He's a first-round guy.
Yeah.
Had a lot of talent. He's never put it together in the NFL. So that was a big thing to see for an entire year. I don't know that I 100% am bought in on repeating that, especially as the way he tailed off towards the end of that regular season and in the playoffs.
We see it all the time, guys that come in. Everybody's taken off guard. That this guy, how we saw with Tannehill when he went to the Titans for the first year. When you are one way with one team and you go and do this to the other team, it's
Now, what the Seahawks have, though, that will carry over for them as long as they get in the performance out of these two guys, those 2 rookie tackles that they drafted last year.
Yeah.
absolute game changer for them.
Yep.
That offensive line is built to last for years on a budget. That is where they have a major, major bonus. You know what I mean?
And their
If they keep
problem
that
was
going, they'll be all right.
Yeah, the problem was they were losing running backs, and it
Right.
feels like Pete Carroll knows that, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna get another running back.
That's why they drafted the kid out of UCLA.
Yeah, yeah.
Charbonnet.
Yeah, it's like Cabernet mixed with Chardonnay.
Right. Yeah.
All right, cool. So you got Seahawks lost, Vikings at home.
That's a win.
Yeah. Lions on the road.
That's a loss.
Ooh, we're gonna disagree about that.
Yep.
So Dolphins on the road.
That's a loss.
Yeah, that's a loss.
And it's the Dolphins' defense that scares me a lot. But for our team, it's a monster. It's a nightmare matchup for us because of our secondary.
Right.
Our
yeah.
secondary against those two speed receivers, and that's just zeroing in on only Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. They're
Monsters.
better athletically and speed and everything else than what we have on the outside. Now, J.C. Horn, I'm not trying to say that J.C. Horn cannot hang and compete. I want to see him healthy come that time. I hate throwing around the injury-prone type of thing, but he's already on the mend of a slight ankle ailment. I want to see him put it together consistently before I'm going to say, hey, he's going to take us out of that Tyreek situation.
Yeah, it's not like we're gonna play man-to-man anyways against this team. So, I think that we can. It's just on the road. Like we're not gonna.
Yeah.
I have the Dolphins in the AFC Championship the game this year. So
See, I'm
love
not
the
a Tua
Dolphins.
believer either. So I'm not. I'm not sold.
31 points up against the Bills pass defense. I mean, they were
Yeah.
number 2 in pass defense last year. I mean,
Well, Mike
with a
McDaniel
third string
does a good-
quarterback.
Mike McDaniel does a good job of building an offense that will work, and
Yeah.
and that's the San Francisco formula, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they had Jimmy G, Brock Purdy look great. McDaniel will put his team in a position to succeed and get his playmakers in space. So that's always a threat. But
Yeah.
I'm not like super scared of the Dolphins, but I think that they're where we want to be a year ahead.
Yeah, it's a different system, but
Yeah.
I agree. Like, once they pay their quarterback, whoever that is,
Yeah.
they're screwed. And Tyreek is, I think, is 29 or 30 this week.
Yeah.
It's almost like to the point where, but Waddle, man, that dude is.
Well, and what I mean by they're where we want to be a year ahead is where they are as far as being competitive and being legit contenders.
Yeah,
I
it's just
think
they're-
that last year was their first year of proving they were legitimate, and then this year is the year they take a step into shit. They're going to give Pat Mahomes a run for his money come playoff time.
Yeah. This is a division. Like, that division's loaded. I mean, our division's going to
Crazy.
be trash for 10 years. All right, pineapple. Texans at home.
That's a win, and that's after the bye week.
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
that's
it's not. No, it's
That's before the bye week.
before the bye week.
Okay, yeah, that's still a win
Colts at
after the bye week.
home.
Is that right? The Colts game is after the bye week. Is that right?
Bye week's between Dolphins and Texans.
Okay, yeah, so I was right. The Texans is after the bye week.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I thought we were already at Colts. Dude, I was drinking a little bit.
Yeah, it's all good. So originally, then that after the bye week against the Texans,
Yeah, at home.
smash, hammer,
Yeah.
smash.
Yeah, Colts at home.
Reich has a nice history of coming off the bye, so give me that all day.
Also, Colts revenge game. We're killing Colts.
100%.
Bears at home.
Yeah, it's a win.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they're really overrated. Panthers, Cowboys at home.
That's a win.
Ooh, wow. I think the Cowboys are the best team in the country, but I think you might be right. Titans away.
It's a loss. It's one of those weird losses where there's not a whole ton of reason to it, but it's just going to happen.
Yeah, it's late
Especially
November.
if we
they
come
run-
off the win. If we come off a win against the Cowboys and we're riding that high, you
Yeah,
always
you-
come back down to earth the next game.
You got 4 straight wins.
Yep.
We're losing to the Titans.
Yep. But shit, think about what that means, though. We went on a win streak this year.
Oh,
That's wild.
I am aware of how
Yeah.
good this team is and how bad their schedule is.
Yep.
Buccaneers away.
That's a win.
Yep. Saints away.
It's a loss.
Okay. I'm willing to accept that. Panthers at home. Panthers Falcons at home.
I was going to say, that's the easiest one of the night.
Yeah.
That's a win.
Oh yeah. Panthers Packers at home.
I think that's also a win.
That's Christmas Eve too. I agree. Panthers Jaguars on the road,
That's a loss.
and
I think that's going to be an interesting game, though, with the Doug Peterson storyline, Trevor Lawrence against Bryce Young. I like that game, but I think that the Jaguars, if they play to their potential, they're also a very scary team.
yeah, yeah, and it depends where they are.
Yeah.
Because it's the second to last game, so it depends if it's a must win. And if we're where I think we're gonna be, I think we're gonna be so far in the division that we will maybe start resting.
Mm-hmm.
It depends what other teams are doing. And then last game, Panthers at home against Bucks.
That's a win.
Cool. Yeah. So you have 11-6, and
That's what I was thinking.
I have 12-5, and it looks like we are almost exact as where I thought we'd be.
Oh, now I feel terrible about this.
Except you have Lions away as your loss, and I have it as a win.
Yep.
So we can get into that. DJ Chark coming back to the Lions?
Oh, you're talking about the DJ Chark revenge game.
Well, and we just freaking destroyed him last year.
So do you think that, what week is that we played the Lions?
Week 5.
You think that DJ Chark is healthy week 5?
All right, okay, all right. Let's.
I hope he is. By the way,
right.
I'm a big DJ Chark fan. I love his game. I love what he brings to the offense.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm a hedger.
Yeah. So usually, what not usually, it's only happened once. Is I would give you what I said during the 30-minute time slot, but I already told you what I had. So I will start the timer, and I will let you make your case, even though it's like pretty similar to Marcos. And then anything that you say that I kind of agree with or different disagree with, I will kind of either elaborate on your point or I will disagree with your point. And we'll just do like a back and forth, like really, really friendly.
Yeah.
And that's one of the rules is like don't suck.
Everybody love everybody.
Yeah, we're just
Jackie
like
Moon.
Yeah, we're just having fun, man. We're just like we're at a bar, we're talking. Second rule is if I say something outrageous, like DJ Chark is number 10 in games played his career, like or whatever that, or Reich has won the division 5 times, whatever it is, and you're like, all right, I want to challenge that. The thing is, when you challenge, you have to go, this is important.
Okay.
Like really, like this is important. Like being like really upset about it. You can give it a try if you want.
You talking like a Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson vibe type of
Yeah,
situation?
yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
This is important.
Yes. All right, that's good. You get it. And we probably will go along with this anyways because that's why we kind of like banter on Twitter. But if logic is for one person, then logic is for the other. So if Breece Hall is going to come back from ACL really quickly, then Javonte Williams is also going to come back from ACL really quickly.
Yep.
So if you make a point based on that argument, then that argument applies across the board.
Heard.
Cool. Awesome. So let me set the timer and go.
So my number one argument for the jump in wins is going to be the difference in quarterback. And I am well aware that Bryce Young is a rookie quarterback. I get it. I know the track record of success for rookie quarterbacks. I get all that. This team has better coaching. It has the same offensive line outside of Corbett, who's going to start on the mend off of his ACL. He'll come back eventually. But I also like the depth that we have at the offensive line right now, which I can't believe as a Carolina Panthers fan I'm able to say. Like, honestly, can we just, like, I'm going to have a drink because that is one of the craziest things that I've ever been able to say as a Carolina Panthers fan. So,
Keep pounding.
offensive line continuity. You take DJ Moore out of the equation, which does hurt. DJ Moore is a very good wide receiver. I don't want to ignore that. But adding Adam Thielen, who is a veteran, crafty wide receiver, you could talk about diminishing skills as far as like physical speed, ability to separate, and things like that. And I wouldn't argue that you're wrong about that. I do think that he has lost a portion of a step. I'm not ready to say he's lost a step because I still think that he can execute very well for what he does on the football field. I don't think that he is reliant on straight line speed. He's got releases and moves that will get him open. He is also going to move the chains, which is something that a rookie quarterback really, really needs. A lot of these rookie quarterbacks, when you look at the track record, they're bad because they go to a very bad team because they're the number 1 overall pick, number 2, number 3 overall pick. We were slotted in for the 9th overall pick, and that was in spite of Matt Rule and what he tried to do with this team. Steve Wilkes comes in, and look, I'm a Steve Wilkes guy. I love him. I appreciate so much what he did here. He instilled that culture back into this team. He left, but what he did for this team is still in that locker room. We got a guy in Frank Reich who is a leader of men in himself. That was the whole draw about Steve Wilkes, is that he had the guys behind him, that locker room believed in him, and they played hard for him. Frank Reich is going to instill that same thing. He is an offensive-minded coach. The focus will not solely be on scoring 18 points. That's not our barometer. That's not where we have to get. You know what I mean? But if you look at the records previously, in games where we didn't score 17 points or more, we were toast. Or the defense allowed 17 points or more. We were toast. We had a really, really bad record against that. That's not a favorable stat. In today's NFL, you're going to give up 17 points more often than not. Looking at our team ranks, we were the 29th ranked passing offense. We were the 10th ranked rushing offense. That is still the strength of this team. And it's also the strength of Frank Reich and Thomas Brown's offensive philosophies. They want to run the ball. They are centered around running the ball. If we're implementing RPO systems into our offensive schemes, running is the objective of an RPO. A lot of people are not aware of exactly what an RPO is, and they think it's the triple option that Georgia Tech runs. That's not what an RPO is. Almost every single team in the NFL runs RPO-based plays in their offensive system. What Bryce Young will be able to do from that RPO system is he will be able to have that 3 yards back behind and shotgun to make his quick processing decisions where he excels, make the read on that defender in conflict, make that read, and make the right decision. Reich and Thomas Brown will dial up plays to take advantage of big opportunities at the right time, but that's not going to be the MO of this team. We want to pound the ball, have time control of the clock, and keep the opposing defense on the field. Give them more opportunities to make mistakes. We were the 19th defense or scoring allowed defense last year, and that's with Phil Snow and then Al Holcomb, right? Because Steve Wilkes was not even the defensive coordinator at that point. It was Al Holcomb being elevated. I love Steve Wilkes. I was not a huge fan of his allegiance to Al Holcomb. Al Holcomb is a nice guy, solid dude. I didn't 100% care for his play calling on defense. We were the 23rd ranked pass defense, the 18th ranked rushing defense. Now that rushing defense is where I still have a little bit of concern. I am worried about that switching to a base 3-4, which I understand will run a lot of sub packages, a lot of nickel. There will be 5 defensive backs on the field more often than not, especially with the versatility that we're going to deploy with Jeremy Chin, Eric Rowe, hell, even Shaq Thompson can play a hybrid safety of sorts, lining up in a box and being able to push back if he needs to. And we were 25th in sacks. I think that's another important one to note. Evero ran a ton of blitz packages. He didn't get a ton of production from those blitz packages. Some of that I do attribute to the midseason trade of Bradley Chubb. He lost a player that can generate pressure and cause disruption on his own without being schemed and without having to have reliance on anybody else to do that. I think that's what Brian Burns is right now. Like immediately, I love Brian Burns. I think he is going to thrive as an outside linebacker in a 3-4. The workout videos that he's showing, and look, I get it. That sounds stupid. They're workout videos. He's in shorts and a tank top, and he looks incredible. Like, holy shit, that dude is in the best physical shape I think I've ever seen any human being in. Except maybe Myles Garrett. He's also a freak. But I think that he is going to exceed the production that he did in the 4-3 system. I also think that Frankie Louvu, who I was very high on last year, I think it was my first piece that I ever wrote for Cat Crave, was talking about how Frankie Louvu should be spoken about in the same regards as a Roquan Smith and other linebackers that were absolute spark plugs for their team and just had a knack for making the big play at the big time. It's what he did. I think he's going to continue on that upward trajectory this year. I'm also a huge Marquise Haynes fan, so I think that Marquise Haynes is going to take the major step. I saw there was a Joseph Person put out an article today on The Athletic where he covers all of the defensive players and has a little excerpt about each one of them. And his thing about Marquise Haynes was comparing him to Mario Addison, who Mario Addison in his sixth season started averaging around 10 sacks a season for the next handful. I think it was 3 seasons that he averaged about 10 sacks a season. And that was at the age of 29. Marquise Haynes is 29, has put on weight. They have him listed at 235 on the team's official roster. He's 250. He's playing around 250. I didn't realize that he confirmed that on the 4-Man Rush podcast. But when I wrote my article about Marquise, I had mentioned that he was 235. He made clear that he was not 235, and then also confirmed that he was 250. That added weight, a guy playing at 6'3", 250 pounds, that is not a small player anymore playing that outside linebacker position. It may be 6'2", 6'2 and a half, something like that. That's not a tiny guy. That is comparable to a Von Miller type of guy. Like, it's in the same range. He doesn't have the arms, necessarily the length, but he does have a nice arsenal of moves. The question about him is, can he set the edge and play run defense at a high level? We will need that. But in the 3-4, I also think you're going to see a lot of versatility with Shai Tuttle and Derek Brown. Henry Anderson. I mean, I completely forgot about that dude. He's going to look better in the 3-4. He was hurt for a lot of last year as well. Got Deshaun Williams from Denver. I really like that acquisition. Now, where I do have a little bit of question marks with this defense still is that zero technique, that nose tackle. Who is going to fill that role? We will see a rotation of Derek Brown and Shai Tuttle and Deshaun Williams. All 3 of them have played A gap, B gap, zero technique. They've done the inside work. None of them have the prototypical size to take on 2 or 3 defenders as a space eater. We do have Marquand McCall, who I am very high on. I like him very much. 6'3", 345 pounds. Honestly, man, I feel like he could pick up a couch and put it in his pocket and walk around with it. The dude is a mammoth. He's a manimal, and I love that about him. And from everything that I have heard and read about this guy, he's got that dog in his work ethic too, though. He wants to be good. I think that Evero is going to scheme up some really nice things for the talent that we have on this team. Our secondary worries me. But what we talked about earlier of giving the coaches the benefit of the doubt with this staff, if we're going to do that for guys on offense, because that's what everyone keeps saying, Terrace Marshall Jr. is going to make a jump because he's got a competent offensive staff. He's got a competent quarterback. If we're going to do that on the offensive side of this football, we have to do that for defense too. I understand CJ Henderson has not shown very much to make us feel good about, but he has shown flashes during certain games where he plays pretty nice football. I'm not asking him to be the shutdown cornerback too. I want him to be a serviceable 3 or 4, and if he has to do a spot start or 2, I'm not concerned that Mike Evans is going to go for 3 touchdowns on him again. I don't want that. But like you said, if Evero can have a 4th-round rookie producing at a pretty decent clip, then I think that there's reason for optimism around CJ Henderson and Keith Taylor Jr. as well. I think that both of them can have bounce-back seasons. Dante Jackson's health is imperative. I have no idea what's going to happen with Jeremy Chin. I have no idea where he's going to play, how much he's going to play. It's one of the things that I am looking forward to the most about this defense. How the hell does he get on the field with this? It's a very tame logjam of the secondary, but there is one. Because Eric Rowe is going to get some playing time. I don't think that Eric Rowe is strictly a voice in the locker room. But man, he plays a similar brand of big body, physical, not the best in coverage. You know what I mean? If you push him backwards, you're probably going to get by him. I don't think he plays a ton of corner. I don't think that he has the press athleticism anymore that he used to. But I'm optimistic. And honestly, if all of those stats that I said, those team stats, happened under Matt Rule, Steve Wilkes, Al Holcomb, Phil Snow, Ben McAdoo, with Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, and PJ Walker, then there is no way in hell I am going to predict us going down or staying remotely the same with Bryce Young, Frank Reich, Thomas Brown, Ejiro Evero, and D'Angelo Hall, Cooley, the linebacker coach Jansen. I mean, dude, we've got a star-studded coaching staff. And I didn't even talk about Jim Caldwell.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And these guys want to be head coaches.
Shit, I
Like,
forgot Dom Capers. Dom fucking Capers is on this
yeah.
team again. Come
Yeah.
on.
No, like we got to think about it as like these guys want to be head coaches.
Yeah.
Evero wants to be a head coach. Brown wants to be a head coach. McCown wants to be a head coach.
Yeah, didn't talk about him.
Why did Dalton come here? Dalton, I think, kind of thinks of this as like a step to being a coach.
Yeah,
Like he,
this is his Josh McCown role, right? Like this is
yeah,
his as a player,
yeah,
as McCown as a player. This is Andy Dalton's ability
yeah,
to soak up. You got this prodigy in Bryce Young, right? Who they're saying is correcting errors in the playbook or in the play calling and all these things.
yeah,
Yeah, Andy Dalton will teach Bryce Young the ins and outs of being a professional quarterback in the NFL, and that is a invaluable asset to have. Andy Dalton is not just some figurehead. He's going to provide real value for this team. And you know what? If Bryce gets hurt or if Bryce misses a game, personal reasons, sick, anything like that, Andy Dalton is a very competent spot starter in the NFL.
yeah.
I feel more confident with him than I felt about Sam Darnold rolling out there. Though Sam Darnold had all the talent in the world, because you can't deny that. The dude's got a cannon for an arm. He can make all the crazy angle throws. But then when you ask him to make a 7-yard out, it's going to go to the opposing team for 6.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't see it.
Yeah. So, and that's, I think, what everybody's missing about this. These guys have aspirations. These guys want to be head coaches. Why would they come somewhere where they're going to win 7 games? You don't get to be a head coach winning 7 games. It's not like they want to be a head coach in 3 years.
Right.
They want to be a head coach next year.
Right.
So Andy Dalton couldn't go to the Bucks. He couldn't go to the Colts. He couldn't go to any of these teams that had like a meh, like filling quarterback. He couldn't go to the Cardinals and start a few games. He wanted to come here. Why? I think it's because I think the idea is let's be the Rams. You know, people just kind of move up through the system. You get a 3rd round compensatory pick because they think Brown's going to be a head coach next year. McCown's going to be our offensive coordinator. Dalton's going to be our quarterback's coach.
Right.
McCown's going to be a head coach. Dalton's going to be. They have it all kind of figured out. These guys aren't just coming here because of the money.
Yeah.
They don't. I mean, they care about the money, but they aren't risking their career aspirations just because of the money.
It's an informed decision. It's a weighted decision. They're going to look at every single aspect of it and say, first of all, you do look at the division. You look at the competition. Because if you get your team in the playoffs, that is a bigger feather in your cap than having a high-ranked team that doesn't make the postseason. The object of the game is to win, to get to the Super Bowl and win a championship. We have seen the past handful of years, the way to do that is to get in. Doesn't matter what seed you are. Doesn't matter if you're a wild card. Doesn't matter if you have home field. Get in. Now, it helps when you have Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. That's a cheat code. But every other team that's made it outside of, I think, the Eagles last year, they're not like these front-running teams that have been juggernauts all year. You get hot at the right time. You put the work in. You come up with great game plans, which is coaching. You have 1 week to come up with your best game plan in the playoffs. I trust this team or this coaching staff to be able to do that should we make it into the playoffs.
Yeah, look at the Patriots. Mac Jones was. Do we think Mac Jones is any good?
No, I got into some shit last night with Twitter because somebody mentioned something about why did DeAndre Hopkins choose Ryan Tannehill over Mac Jones, and I'm like, well, it's because Ryan Tannehill's a better quarterback, first of all, but second of all,
because the Titans are good,
and their division sucks.
They had 24 guys on IR last year.
Yeah,
they had 24 guys on IR last year.
Yep,
they're a good football team, and I don't got to play in the AFC East.
Yep, exactly.
Whatever. Also, this is what Ricky told me before this happened. I don't have any prep done for this.
Yeah, that's
FYI, LOL.
Yeah.
You just gave me like all these numbers about where they ranked and all this. What am I even going to say? You already gave literally everything I could have said. But let me just. So
did
try.
You just kind of say that like I win?
You said 11-6. I said 12-5. We kind of like think the same thing.
Okay.
But like this is a podcast where I have to talk too, so I got to come up with interesting things to say. I guess.
Yeah, here you go.
So let's go. You made good points, but I actually been listening to Panthers podcasts, and Mike K came. God, man, I wish I remember the podcast that he came on.
C3.
Yeah, I don't think it was C3, but I think it was in the same network of
Okay.
shows. But he came on and he predicted us to go like 8 wins or 9 wins. But I think he forgot like our schedule
Yeah.
because it's pretty bad. But he said Marquise Haynes was the best player on the field.
Oh yeah, the reports of him from OTAs and minis, man, they said that he was just making plays and disrupting almost every single snap on defense.
Yeah, and look at
Love to
me
hear that.
at the end of last year. Like he is just a freak. Like he's
Uh-huh.
an athletic freak.
Go
And
back to his time at Ole Miss.
yeah,
He was a terrific pass rusher at Ole Miss, and he did stand up at times at Ole Miss. Like he still had his hand in the dirt for I think the majority of the snaps that he took at Ole Miss, but he did a whole lot more of a hybrid role than he's been asked to do here in Carolina. In
yeah,
Carolina, he's been a hands in the dirt the entire time. I think that he's going to really benefit from that jump.
yeah. Also, Brown's gonna play in position now.
Yeah.
Like you're making a 25-year-old play nose tackle. Like you're like
Right.
literally going against like the like right up the gut guys running at you all the time. Let this guy get some pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah.
Let Luvu get some pressure on the quarterback. Let Chin get some pressure on the quarterback. Like these guys can rush the passer, but they got to play in position. And I do agree with you about Jeremy Chin, and I'm really nervous. So Mike K talked about this too, that we'd be looking at more of a 3-3-5 kind of
Yeah.
a defense, which is I think I like that we're flying around everywhere, but we're young. How disciplined are we going to be? But I mean, Pro Football Focus ranked Pro Football Focus. They ranked Thompson and Luvu as two of the top 15 best run stoppers at linebacker
Yeah.
in the NFL.
Which is really interesting, right? Because the knock on Frankie Louvu has been that he's slight. That's been the knock on the guy.
Yeah,
I don't think that people understand the power that Frankie Louvu plays with. Frankie Louvu is a runaway RV on wheels. Like he barrels through shit. When you see him hit somebody, it's like when someone teaches you how to punch, right? You punch through your target. He runs through people. He doesn't hit and make a collision and stop there. He finishes. He is a pile driver of a linebacker. But he also has a ton of athleticism. And you saw some of that with, I believe he had pick six last year.
yeah. He had a fumble
Yeah.
six and a pick six. I think he
Yeah.
had 2 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
And Chin had 2 touchdowns in the same game, I think.
Dude, Chin gets a really bad rap because he was
They
misused.
all do.
They all do.
We're Panthers
They all do.
fans. That's why
Yeah.
they get a bad rap.
Yeah, we're a miserable fan base for the most part.
Yep.
And that's okay. I mean, there's a lot of miserable fan bases that, don't actually believe in their team either. At least we are miserable because we keep believing in our team. Like the only reason I'm miserable is
pounding.
because I keep disappointing myself. It's not even the Panthers don't even disappoint me. I disappoint myself. I'm like,
Yeah.
God damn it, Ricky, you knew better than that one that day. Like you
Yeah.
knew it. There was no way that Sam Darnold was going to go out there and outclass the top of the AFC that week, And
Yeah.
whatever. Let's see. I got enough
Yeah.
high lifes. Let's make it interesting.
Oh yeah, but Wilkes comes in and we just hand the ball to Foreman like 9,000 times, and we crushed the Seahawks, we crushed the Lions, and
And
now
then there's a lot of people that are so bummed out about the Foreman departure, and I get it. Like I think that it's okay to be bummed out about it because he was a productive bruiser of a running back. But I put out a stat somewhere that he had 5 of 11 games post CMC's departure. He had over 100 plus rushing yards. The remaining games, he averaged 38.3 rushing yards per game. I am perfectly okay saying that Miles Sanders, who finished as a top 8 running back in the NFL, I believe it was top 5 in yardage.
Yardage,
maybe?
yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
top 5 in yardage.
listen to my deep dive.
Yeah, that's right. I did look at it. It was a good one. It was an interesting one.
Thanks.
I think that anyone that is confused about Miles Sanders being an upgrade over Deontay Foreman, you're going to find out really quick why that is. He is going to provide more versatility than anything that Foreman could provide. Chuba Hubbard is already under contract as the backup running back. You don't need to add an expense to bring in a very specific valued running back like Foreman. Foreman's not great in pass pro sets. Raheem Blackshear is still going to be on this roster because he adds special teams value and change of pace and receiving out of the backfield. You cannot carry 4 or 5 running backs on a roster if you're planning on carrying 4 tight ends and probably 6 or 7 cornerbacks and 4 safeties. There is a logistical problem with that. And that is something that fans do have to kind of consider. We need special teams players that will play. Deontay Foreman's not going out there and playing gunner. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Raheem Blackshear will. And Raheem Blackshear will do kick return duties. It's important, man. Versatility is important. And unfortunately for Foreman, he is Jerome Bettis in today's NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we got to be realistic. This guy wasn't supposed to come in and be the number one. Like, he's been a backup every single place that he's been.
Yeah.
And even in Chicago, he probably will still be the backup. What he added was that toughness that we needed, but 4.5 yards to carry. If you look at the advanced numbers, like, I know that we're saying that Miles Sanders has had a great offensive line in Philly. Yeah. So does Nick Chubb.
Right.
Like we create this narrative about how's he gonna do it in the in Carolina. Well, we just watched the backup that's Foreman do it.
Well, and so here's a good question then. If Philly's offensive line was exponentially so much better than Carolina's, right? And Deontay Foreman was such a better running back than Miles Sanders, why was Philly the 5th ranked overall rushing team? That's only 5 better than the Panthers, and we were playing with this offensive line that everyone says is worse, and with a player that is definitely not of the caliber that Miles Sanders is supposed to be.
Also,
so
why did they go after Deontay Foreman?
Right.
Or Deontay Foreman?
Right.
If they're the same player. Why
Right.
go after him?
Yeah.
But we
and also, I got to correct myself because I said Jerome Bettis or something with Deontay Foreman. I was not calling Deontay Foreman Jerome Bettis. I'm saying the play style and what he does is the Jerome Bettis-esque kind of play style. By far, I'm not trying to say he's the bus. Please don't crush me for that.
No. The 5 listeners will not crush you for it.
Hey, man, we might retweet this out and get 20.
Yeah. I'm hoping. Dude, I just got 569 on a reel that I posted last week.
Ooh.
So it's coming up. It's coming up.
Moving units.
Yeah, so let me just do a quick pineapple.
Yeah.
See where we are at. I got 6 minutes to wrap all of this up. So you said quarterback Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Is her. Let me go over the quarterbacks that Frank Reich has had, and they've been probably I know I looked it up. They're a top 15 offense every single year, top half of the league offense every single year, except for the Brissett year. And that's when everybody got hurt. The running back got hurt, all the receivers got hurt. That's the one year that he didn't have a winning record. So he had Carson Wentz for 3 years. He had Phillip Rivers early when he was the offensive coordinator in San Diego. He had Andrew Luck one year, and they were 3rd in offense that year. And he had Phillip Rivers again, and Carson. I already said all these. Carson and Matt Ryan. Sorry, Matt Ryan.
There it is.
Yeah, and
you forgot about that other old white guy.
Yeah. So he had 3 out of 4 years we coached the whole season. That was 9. He had 9 or better wins.
Yeah.
But we're so jaded as Panthers fans, and I see it on Twitter, and it's we don't have a good receiving core. We overpaid Miles Sanders. It's what are you talking about? The dude was a Pro Bowler last year.
Yeah.
Somebody was posted something. I don't know if you saw me respond to it, but they said perfect for a young running back, and it was receiver passing rating. And they said for the entire year, a minimum of 60 games. Last 7 games of the season, DJ Chark was number 1 in the NFL in receiver passer rating.
You love that.
I'm gonna get a Hayden Hurst deep dive, but I'm gonna give you a little. I'm gonna give you a little sneak
we
peek.
didn't even touch on all of the intricacies of this because I know that we have a time constraint.
But
man, there's some shit still.
Hayden Hurst is number 2 in the NFL in catch percentage. Mm-hmm. He doesn't drop balls. You know what you need for a rookie quarterback? Someone that doesn't drop balls. Yeah. And you got Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
And you got. So I did this in my deep dive for Adam Thielen. How do we think that Adam Thielen had anything to do with Justin Jefferson being good right away?
Oh, absolutely.
You know who also went to LSU and didn't go to Minnesota and had to deal with Joe Brady for another 2 years?
His first name is like one of my favorite kinds of bars. A terrace bar.
So I don't know if you watched the first. There was a video that got posted of them right beside each other, and Thielen runs this beautiful maybe 5 steps that he takes, and you see Terrace Marshall just like kind of clunk. I'm sorry, like he like clunked around, and you're like, oh my god, it's like. Terrace Marshall might not make the team. It was reported that Terrace Marshall might not make the team. Like a month later, that dude
fluid,
looks
smooth.
good. Mingo, like it. We've been dealing with this forever with the Cam era about like how good people are, or like they get crapped on, like how good Jonathan Stewart was, how good Cam was, how good all those guys were, and they never got the respect they deserved.
Yeah,
and it kind of feels that way here. And defense, and I'll just touch on the defense real fast.
Yeah.
McCall, he's in people's ears. He might start over a Shy Tuttle. He might be that guy. He's been showing up, and I think what we got killed with last year, we got beat over the top. So we bring in Von Bell, make it a little bit easier on Xavier Woods.
Yep.
So
Von Bell is a major component to the resurgence of this defense.
No one's talking about it.
And honestly, it's in the article that I've got coming out about what I'm watching for training camp. But it's Von Bell takes away that concern about having no defenders that excel in coverage. There is no deep defender that we have had on this roster for 3-4 years minimum that you can say, I feel like he can play cover one out there. I feel like if we've got one man back there playing free safety, I think he can handle that responsibility, that alignment. Haven't had that. Von Bell, don't even have to think twice. Throw him out there. He's got it.
Can you name somebody on the Broncos other than Simmons and Surtain?
On their defense?
Yeah.
I probably could, but since you just put me on the spot, absolutely not.
I can't either. I honestly can't either. They were fifth in the league last year in pass defense. Fifth.
Were they?
And they never had time of possession because
they were 13th.
In pass defense, overall defense, they're probably 13th. I mean, I just looked it up before here because I did a little bit of research. It depends what you're looking at. If you're looking at passing yards or...
this is important. I'm going to challenge that.
All right.
What are you using to look it up?
StatMuse?
Pro Football Reference? See, I do Pro Football Reference.
Yeah, because...
Should be the same, though, right?
Well, yeah, it's like an overall ranking. I might still have it up. I love that you challenged.
Wanted to say, I kind of just wanted to do the challenge thing, man. Honestly.
Also, how much fun is this that we don't need? All right, so this is. Oh, did it show up?
Not much.
But you
I'll trust you on it, but I also am probably just right. So.
I mean, it depends what you. But it's still no fly zone. It's still like whatever.
It's a really nice pass defense when you have no brand name players out there doing it. Other than Surtain. And Surtain, I mean, this is a second-year player.
Simmons, yeah.
Right, and Simmons, totally.
Yeah, we got to the point where we're like, Super Bowl coach. One of the top people that did not get a head coaching job that was a defensive coordinator last year. We get Sean Payton into the Broncos, and so many people are saying, "Oh, they're gonna change this team." Like Sean Payton's gonna come in and change the team, but we don't do that for the Panthers,
right? Hey, didn't the Broncos have another pass rusher other than Bradley Chubb? They had the rookie Nick Bonito out of Oklahoma, who honestly, if you look at him, he's a little bit slighter frame, reminds you a little bit of Marquise Haynes. And Evero really liked him, so there's a nice thing to think about there. I thought that there was another guy that they had.
They have Brian Burns, better than all those guys. We have Frankie Louvu, better than all those guys. But it was like this. We kind of tried to talk ourselves out of it because we're so jaded. But it's like, no, this team is actually really, really good. And then you look at the division, and you're like, I get scared of the Falcons just because if you can run the ball, who knows what can happen? You can control the clock, anything. It's scary. Bucks are they're not going to. We should have beat if Tom Brady doesn't beat us long. we're crushing that team. We were crushing that team.
The Falcons' defense doesn't scare me either, though.
No, yeah,
that,
but
that, that defense has to be much, much better than what they were if they are going to strike fear into anybody. So yeah, sure, the Falcons can run the ball. That's what the Panthers did last year. That's what we will aim to do this year, but we're going to be way more multiple than what we were last year. Last year, there were sets where you knew we were going to run the ball. Frank Reich will come out and he'll run 3 tight end sets, and he'll have everyone running routes. It's controlled chaos. It's planned timing. We are going to be a much different approach on the offensive side of the ball, and I think it's going to be difficult for a team like the Falcons to match up with some of that. Even from a coaching standpoint, Arthur Smith, say what you want to. I know a lot of people really like Arthur Smith. I'm out on that. I just don't see the creativity that is necessary in today's NFL. You don't have to be running trick plays. You don't have to be doing all of that. Not everybody's going to be able to dial up the Andy Reid specialties all the time. But man, I mean, it's like 3rd and 8 and he's calling draws. It's like, dude, come on, man. We lived through that too. You know, John Fox, he got fired for a reason, you know?
Yeah, but if you're scared about our run defense, which actually I am not. I think that we're going to have a really good run defense.
Interesting.
Because I think that we're going to have Brown in position, and he's actually, and we're going to play YGM, and YGM was like one of the highest ranked run defenders in as a end. Yep. And we have 2 of the top linebackers in run defense. We brought in like big dudes like Shai Tuttle, and we're going to have Derek Brown play in the proper position. I think our run defense is going to be. I think our defense is going to be a top 5 unit. That's. I mean, we can't go too much longer about that. But I am not worried about our run defense as much as I think we might get beat over the top. Yeah. But I'm not worried about guys like Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Mike. I'm worried about Olave. I'm worried about like those guys that can, shift open and then beat us, like the Waddles of the world, like those kind of guys.
Absolutely.
We are out of time, man. I'm so excited that we talked forever, and then we got this coming up again. So I'm gonna bring Ricky back on. He's gonna be our eyes and ears at training camp, which we're really appreciative of. And then he's gonna come back on before that, talk about his article that he's writing for Cat Crave, which I'm really excited about. Ricky, do you have anything else that you want to add? Do we change each other's mind? We had the same kind of thoughts. So
I think that we both fell in the same overall basket here, and I feel good about it. Honestly, man, talking through it, I think we proved some really good supportive arguments, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I would rather be more optimistic about this team than be the people airing caution. Look, it's cool to air caution. We got a rookie quarterback. We got a first-year staff. All of them are ballers. Lean into it.
Also, if we're terrible, so what?
Who gives a shit? We've been
terrible.
They're
young. Yeah. I mean, they're young. They'll get better.
As long as Bryce Young doesn't look like absolute dog shit, I'm okay with pretty much whatever comes to fruition with this season. I don't want to be 1-16. I don't want that. But if Bryce Young shows some promise and has the trajectory of a NFL starter, a high-level NFL starter, cool with it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And he's never been that. Right. So, and this team is hungry. This team has got a taste of winning at the end of the year. Last year, they were that close to make the playoffs. I think this team's gonna freaking explode this year. So, dude, it was good. It was good talking with you. I'm actually gonna talk to you pretty soon, next couple of days. Appreciate you coming on. And
thanks for having me, man.
Bro, keep pounding. Anything else that you want to say?
That's it. Keep pounding.
All right. Thanks, everyone.